Some days it's nice to be in a van, and I guess today is one of those days where I'm back in the van and I'm glad to be moving. Your first time checking out the Gig Geezer. If you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, thanks for coming by, and if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. Well, yes, I mentioned in the teaser, it's nice to be in a van. Actually, it's nice to be moving in any vehicle, truth be said, especially if your thing is delivery and transport. That means you have an opportunity to earn some money. And while we can argue about how it's earned and how much is earned and what justification you put into it, and I'll probably talk about that in this segment, the Gig Geezer. The fact of the matter is, you're out there rolling, and again, you have a chance to earn money. Well, after a zero earnings day yesterday, one in which everything that could go wrong went wrong, including my live stream last night, Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. It seems as if today is a little bit of redemption, but it's also mixed. I have mixed feelings about that, because when it's all said and done, someone say, "You had a good day, man. You had a busy day," and you actually have a point. But this day is mixed because a couple of the opportunities are okay, and then a couple of opportunities, I'm going to say, it's going to be a toast to the thirsty. And I'm actually in the midst of doing the thirsty work right now. I mean, I'll put it like this. I'll admit when I've done thirsty work, and this is thirsty work. Now, here's what had happened. I had a last mile opportunity where I delivered this. And I earned what I would say is pretty damn easy money on that one. A plastic bag that paid more than what individually all these next 4 deliveries are gonna pay individually. If you go stack this one for what it paid to what this was gonna pay, and then this one's gonna pay, and this one's gonna pay, and this one's gonna pay. This one paid more than all 4 of them, not combined, but it made if you were to do a percentage of it, it'd come out to close to 40%. Now, how did I end up making a thirst move like that? It was a greedy move, but it turned out to be thirsty, in that I accepted a last mile opportunity, which I am in the midst of going to pick up 3 TV sets, and I saw the dollar amount, and this is how you do thirsty stuff, at least in my opinion, in my experience. You're looking at a dollar amount, okay? In my case, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to run up the numbers, all right? I'm gonna run up the numbers, and I'm gonna grab this, and then when I looked at it, it's like, oh no, that was dumb. And unfortunately, with the app, because it's within 3 hours of the pickup time, I can't get out of it unless I want to sustain a contract violation. Now, there was another order that had come out while I picked up the first one on this. All this is on the same app, and I passed on it because I'm like, well, I did something similar to this for twice as much last week, but it was on a different app. But then again, the item was larger, and there's a little more distance involved. These are all fairly close, fairly local. So I know I'm kind of talking in generalities, but I'll give you a little more specifics once I pick up the items, at least 3 of the items. That's it. So in order to kind of clean up the dumb move that I made, I end up taking this other one so that it can kind of bolster up the numbers. But in my opinion, in my book, it's still thirst. It's still a thirst effort in the midst of what some would say is still an otherwise productive day. So when I resume this conversation, it will be at the pickup location where I'm picking up 3 items, and I'll give you more specifics. All right, I'm moving again. I've got the 3 items that I'm picking up. I do want to talk first about just being back in the van again. Before I talk more on the third strategy that I am now having to execute. Today's my first day in the van since last week Friday. Last week Friday, I did a brokered opportunity to Atlanta, and that paid $475. And it's a route or run that I've done on multiple occasions. In fact, I made mention of it in this segment of the Get Geezer. So it was nice. It was nice turning the engine. In fact, I turned the engine a couple of times during the week just to make sure the battery's charged and all. You don't want something to sit too long because that's how batteries run down. I mean, in theory. So another thing about being in the van, there's something different about being in the van though. And I know CJ's talked about this. For him, it was a sense of proprietorship. And when I mean sole proprietorship, being your own boss. You're doing what you're doing. You're doing what you're doing. And you're out there earning a living. It's on your own time, your own abilities, your own strategy, everything. The van for me is a reminder of the move that I made 2 years ago, in that the basic strategy, in fact, as I mentioned in last night's live stream, was that I noticed in 2022 how the gig food delivery marketplace, at least for me, where I'm at, I saw signs of stagnation. And I was right. And so my looking into ownership and operation of a Sprinter/cargo van would give me greater earnings capacity. In fact, when I first talked about this 2 years ago, I explained this in a number of videos because I was getting, I had arrows and rocks and boulders and spears and chains and whatever else that people can hurl at me. That was hurled at me from many directions, and I was explaining, hey, this is why I was doing what I was doing. And I believe that I was right, because based on what I did last year, yes, it was the right move. From when you compare what I earned in 2022 to 2023, that was about a 25% increase in revenue. So how would you like to make a move and basically earn 25% more? That's a pretty good raise, but most people would say. Now, I'm looking at where the market has changed. I've not seen a market change like this since, like, I hate to bring it up because I've made mention of the years with my live stream so far, 2009, somewhere around 2009, 2010, and that was in the book publishing realm, in which there was a big shift from book sales from the brick and mortar stores to online, the ebook sales, and it pretty much caused a lot of people to get out of the book publishing game. Book authors lost contracts and were not renewed, and so I know we're making two different comparisons, but it was the dramatic shift in the market in 2024 reminds me of that. So I'm still on pace to six figures, as I've shared in this countdown to six figures series. But when I compare what the earnings are likely to be, it's probably going to be somewhere about 10% less than last year. But that said, now I'm about less than 5 minutes away from the drop-off location. The three items that I picked up were TV sets. They're all 65-inch TV sets. This batch is going to pay $55.18. Not the greatest of strategic moves on my part. That is why I made mention earlier, it was a thirst move, and I had to take a couple gulps of water behind that one. I saw $55 and grabbed. I was looking at trying to add to my day, quite honestly. And you may even make the argument that because of my having a zero earnings day, that added a little more urgency with me trying to make up for what I've missed out on really most of the week. fan of these multi-floor deliveries when it comes to TV sets. I mean, these things weigh 50, 60, 70, 80, and upwards of 100 pounds. And I've been pretty fortunate today in that 2 of the 3 TV deliveries that I've made thus far, somebody was there to assist. That's not to say that the Get Geezer is some weakling or not capable of handling these TV sets. Anybody who's, and I'm not, and I guess it's really not for me to, it's really not my place to be boasting or bragging of physical prowess. But anyone who's met me in person could attest to the fact that at least physically, by appearance, I am not somebody's weakling. Now, this delivery, this last mile delivery will get me to about $1.58 on the day. But my day will end in about 3 hours when I complete a catering opportunity. In fact, within the next 35 minutes, I'll be in that corridor where if that order cancels, I'm going to get the entire amount, regardless. So once we reach about 35 minutes from now, let's presume that we're at 35 minutes from now, that'll be a $1.96.45, and that will bring me to about $355 for the day. That would actually exceed what I'd earned between Monday and Tuesday. It happens like that. Now, I will say this much. I tried to set up something for tomorrow, a brokered opportunity with a broker whom I have mentioned previously. Well, I've never mentioned by name, but I've described the broker. In fact, I mentioned earlier about the brokered opportunity that I had last week that went to Atlanta. Same broker. They had a run that was going to Atlanta from a different location, and we could not. We were apart by $50. I was willing to come down $25. So you could say either $25 or $50, and I still passed. So, pardon the jump as it appears to be in sequence, but what happened was, for some reason, my documenting the camera stopped, and so I'm resuming this at the pickup location for this second TV set, this last TV set, the 4th one that I'll be delivering today. Resuming talk about that run this run to Atlanta. I've done that run twice for this broker this year. The first one was in January, and I agreed to $375, and it was in this segment of the Get Geezer. But what ended up happening, because of my getting there, I was actually delayed by a couple of hours, and by the time I got to Atlanta, the airline was closed for the evening, and so I ended up having to spend the night, and they paid me for layover, and so I ended up getting $625 out that run. The second time I picked up from that location, it was a shorter wait, and I earned $400 on that opportunity. So the market that's set for me is $400. I'm asking for $400. I may go down to $375, but more than likely I'm not. I'm gonna hold at that round number, $400, and that's basically what kind of transpired with that conversation. Now, here's the thing. We all have. I think this is a never ending. This is going to be kind of a never ending thing, though. But if I can help one person to maximize their earning potential, their earning capacity, then it's not in vain. But what you got to understand is that when you accept for a number that's what they want you to accept it for, and you're not, but then again, the catch is that you may or may not be used to earning more than what the brokers often suggest the route is going to be available for. And so if you're not used to negotiating for more or getting more, then that you're just going to go along with what they say. They may have said they may have said 300 for all I know. They might have offered that person 300, and um they all but I'll put it like this: they had to take a quick gulp. they had to take a quick gulp and to compose themselves, and they probably accepted it. Although the broker said the most they had in it was 350. Even if it was 350, I'm pretty sure again they took a long hard swig there. And hey, I'm not mad at you, but I believe that there was more money in it. I just believe that there was more money in it, and you can't get it unless you ask for it. And if they're not willing to give it, then hey, you got to be willing to move on to something else.
All right, so I'm back here at the Geezer studio, and it just so happened that no sooner than I documented that last portion of this segment, the guy comes by on the van and looks at it, and then he looks at me and he kind of motioned at me, and I got out the van and we got to talking, and the guy, his name is Mr. Glenn Johnson. He told me that he'd been checking out some of my content and that he actually started his own enterprise, and he bought a 2500 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, high roof, and for good reason, because Mr. Johnson, he's probably about 6'6", but the point is that he started last month, October 10th, doing his own thing. Previously, he'd been with Centos, a company that caters to businesses, like the doormats that you see at the doors. They may come, take them, clean them, bring them back. Centos, I believe, also deal with work uniforms as well. But the fact is that Mr. Johnson he's started out on his own, and he's got some ideas exactly on what he's doing and what he will be doing. He also does gig food delivery work. So I was impressed with talking with Mr. Johnson. He's just waiting for a couple of administrative things to come through so that he can really go all out with the Sprinter/cargo van. But I want to end this segment of updating on what transpired with that delivery, that last TV delivery. The very thing that I was concerned about, it went to an apartment complex, and the drop-off was on the 3rd floor. That's right. You see here on the inset, TV was left at the door because the delivery instruction says first dry area or to a door or a garage. And so I left it at the door. I ended up also having to break out with some gloves, which I rarely do with deliveries, but because of being much cooler and it's a smooth surface, your ability to handle boxes like that is not as good. So I had to get I had to break out with some gloves that got some surface on them that allows me to hold on to the box a little more hold on to the box much more effectively. So the last thing is, as you see on the inset, was the catering order that I delivered. That was to a swim team competing against the university. That was for about 70 people, and they were individually prepared. That's usually what happens when you deliver to a collegiate program. It's for them once they get finished and they're about to get on the bus. So there was no setup involved. It was a matter of just handing them off, or in most situations, you're either handing them off to a group of people who will then disperse it to their teammates or to the players or to the athletes, or there may be an area that you're going to set it up, but it's usually you're handing them off. I ended up earning for the day $355 and change. Much welcomed, much appreciated. But I have to admit, I had my jug of water with me with that decision with those TV deliveries. I believe if I had played my cards much better, I'd earn more money delivering those TVs. But it happens. And It happens. I know I'm harping on it though, but as much as I talk about thirsties, I made a thirst move yesterday. Some may disagree with me saying, hey, that's not bad. 4 TVs earning over $80. I mean, depending on the app, that may be about par. But I will say this, last week I delivered a TV and earned $58 for delivering that single TV. So that's why I'm saying it was a thirst move. There's a reason why I say that. Again, a lot of times it's about what you're used to earning or what you know that you can earn. And then when you compare it, when you compare those numbers and those efforts, that's when you say you may not have made the best decision. But that's all I have to share for this segment of the Gig Geezer. If you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. I'm in Wood Lane. As always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.